Energy has to come down. It all has to come down, and we have to start paying off debt. But when we have a debt limit, and they use that very seriously. They came in, Schumer came in with Nancy Pelosi, and they were using it. We'll violate it. We'll do whatever. They talked a whole lot different than they do right now. I say to the Republicans out there, congressmen, senators, if they don't give you massive cuts, you're going to have to do a default. And I don't believe they're going to do a default, because I think the Democrats will absolutely cave, because you don't want to have that happen. But it's better than what we're doing right now, because we're spending money like drunken sailors.
So just to be clear, Mr. President, you think the U.S. should default if the White House does not agree to the spending cuts Republicans are demanding?
Well, you might as well do it now, because you'll do it later, because we have to save this country. Our country is dying. Our country is being destroyed by stupid people, by very stupid people.
You once said that using the debt ceiling as a negotiating wedge just could not happen. You said that when you were in the Oval Office.
That's when I was president.
So why is it different now that you're out of office?
Because now I'm not president.
The U.S. defaulting would be massively consequential for everyone in this room, for all Americans.
You don't know. It's psychological. It's really psychological more than anything else. And it could be very bad. It could be maybe nothing. Maybe it's you have a bad week or a bad day. But look, you have to cut your costs. We're spending $7 trillion on, much of it on nonsense. $7 trillion on nonsense.
We've got another
actually
question from a voter tonight.
Get all of that money that was wasted, and frankly, the Senate should have never approved it. Get all that money that was wasted, and if they don't get rid of that, you'll have to default. Okay?
Mr. President, we've got another voter here tonight.
And by the way, you're going to default eventually anyway, but it's going to be much messier. I don't think you'll have to default. I think if the Republicans hold strong and they say we want let's say we want $5 trillion off, I really think the Democrats have no choice but to do it. And if I win, they're going to be doing the same thing to me in 2 years. I guarantee you that.
Mr. President, we've got another voter here tonight.
And they did that before.
Bobby Petrino has been waiting very patiently.
Sure.
He's a student at St. Anselm. He's a member of College Republicans. He's an undeclared voter right now who supported you in 2020. Bobby, what's your question for President Trump?
Hi, thank you for coming. This is a bit of a pivot, but with gun violence and mass shootings in the news cycle recently, I'm worried that state governments and the federal government are going to act to repress gun rights. Under your administration, you instructed the Department of Justice and the ATF to ban bump stocks. If elected president again, how would you act not only to defend our Second Amendment rights, but to restore rights that have been taken from us, such as, by example, recently the ATF's ruling on the pistol stabilizing braces?
Yeah, as you know, the bump stocks are actually a very unimportant thing. And NRA, I went with them and they said it doesn't mean anything. Or actually, all they do is teach you how to shoot very inaccurately. So we did that. There's been nobody that's protected the Second Amendment, as you know, like I have. I protected it through thick and thin, not easy to do. But we have a very big mental health problem in this country. And again, it's not the gun that pulls the trigger. It's the person that pulls the trigger. And we have to protect our Second Amendment. We have to protect our Second Amendment.
Mr. President, you dealt with a lot of mass shootings.
That is facts. Complete facts.
There have already been more than 200 mass shootings in 2023. If you are reelected, are there any new gun restrictions that you would sign into law?
I would do numerous things. For instance, schools, we would harden, very much harden. And I'm a very believer. I believe in teachers. I love teachers. I think they're incredible. And they love the children.
Bro, why is it doing this?
Not quite like the parents, but they love the children in many cases almost as much. Many of these teachers are soldiers, ex-soldiers, ex-policemen. They're people that really understand weapons. And you don't need 5% of the teachers would be more than you could ever have if you're going to hire security guards. But in addition to that, have security guards. You have to harden your entrances. You have to make schools safe. And you can make other places safe. But it is a big mental health problem in this country more than anything else. And remember, we have 700 million guns, 700 million.
And we're going to keep them.
People, if they don't have a gun, they're not going to be very safe. I mean, if they don't have a gun, it gives them security. Now, you need them for entertainment. You need them for hunting. You need them for a lot of different things. But there are people that if they didn't have the privilege of having a gun in some form, many of them would not be
Who's all
alive
in here?
today.
Where
You
y'all
know,
tuning
there's a
in
certain
from?
country that had a very strict policy on guns, very, very strict.
Which country?
And Brazil, okay?
She thought he
Very
wasn't gonna be able to
strict. And
answer.
the former president of Brazil, and the killing was incredible. They were walking into people's homes and killing people. They had no protection. He said, go out and buy guns. People went out and bought guns, and it went way down. The numbers went way down because they
No
had security.
way.
If you look at Chicago, Chicago has the single toughest gun policies in the nation.
Facts.
They are so tough you can't breathe. New York too, and other places also. All of those places are the worst and most dangerous places. So
Facts.
that's not the answer.
No new restrictions that you would sign if reelected, Mr. President. I want you to meet Julie Miles, a registered nurse from Merrimack. She's a Republican who voted for you in 2020. Julie, what's your question for the president?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
I appreciate you answering this question this evening. How do you plan to appeal to women voters in New Hampshire who are concerned about the Dobbs decision and how states may change their laws?
It's such a great question, and it was such a great victory, and people are starting to understand it now. You know that they wanted to bring it back to the states, but that was probably the least important part of that victory. Getting rid of Roe v. Wade was an incredible thing for pro-life because it gave pro-life something to negotiate with. Pro-life had absolutely nothing being stuck in Roe v. Wade to negotiate with. And now what's happening?
Christine, you can feel free to go watch it on your own TV if you want to.
Be made. And look, everybody that was president wanted to get rid and tried to get rid of Roe v. Wade.
You mean
for 50
Republicans?
years. Republicans. For 50 years, this has been going on. Actually, a couple of Democrats too. But for 50 years, this has been going on. I was able to do it, and I was very honored to do it. But by doing it, things are happening that are very, very positive. And I happen to believe in the exceptions, the life of the mother, rape, incest, like Ronald Reagan believed in the exceptions. But I happen to believe that. I think it's frankly important to do that. But a lot of people are, against that. A relatively small number. But the way I look, I think it's very important to say this. I consider the other side to be radical because the other side under Roe v. Wade and other things, the other side, they're radical because they will. Remember the debate with Hillary Clinton? I said, rip the baby out of the womb at the end of the 9th month. They will kill the baby in the 9th month. If you look at that crazy governor of Virginia from the former governor, where he said, no, the baby will be born, and then we'll decide essentially whether or not to execute the baby.
But Mr. President, can we talk about what you would do if you are reelected?
No, but these are the radical people. It's not the pro-life people that are radical.
But if you are reelected and you're back in the Oval Office and you get
Christine, you can watch it on YouTube yourself too, not on my channel. You don't necessarily got to watch it on my channel.
What I'll do is negotiate so that people are happy. But the fact that I was able, I'm so proud of it. We put 3 great justices on the Supreme Court. We have almost 300 federal judges on the Supreme Court.
So just to be clear, Mr. President, you would sign a federal abortion ban into law.
I said this. I want to do what's right. And we're looking, and we want to do what's right for everybody.
But what's right?
But now, for the first time, the people that are pro-life have negotiating capability because you didn't have it before. They could kill the baby in the 9th month or after the baby was born. Now they won't be able to do that.
But I think this is a really important question for you to answer because this is something every Republican, including those who are running against you for the nomination, are being asked about is, would you sign a federal abortion ban into law?
And many of them are going to give you the same answer as I am. First of all, I am honored to have done what I did. And a lot of people said
the host, ladies and gentlemen, that's Dylan Mulvaney,
the most consequential president because he saved so many lives. And I'm honored to have done it. And because of what I've done, we now have a great negotiating ability. That's what I do in life. I negotiate. We have a great negotiating ability, and I think we're going to be able to get something done.
What do you mean negotiating ability? Because the question that Republicans have, and some of your allies on Capitol Hill say that they want to introduce legislation when it comes to banning abortion. If they send it to your desk, would you sign it?
Some people are at 6 weeks. Some people are at 3 weeks,
Where's
2
President
weeks.
Trump?
President Trump is going to make a determination what he thinks is great for the country and what's fair for the country. But the fact that I was able to terminate years of trying, they worked for 50 years. I've never seen anything like it. They worked, and I was so honored to have done it. We are in a very good negotiating position right now, only because of what I was able to do. And remember this, again, you talk about radicalism. People that will kill a baby in the 9th month or the 8th month or the 7th month or after the baby is born, they're the radicals, not the pro-life.
I just want to give you one more chance, though, because you did not answer whether or not you'd sign a federal abortion ban or how many weeks into pregnancy you believe abortion should be banned.
Yeah, but
Can you answer either
I've
of those
given you
tonight?
the answer probably 4 times already.
Which one
I'm
is it,
looking.
though?
I'm
You have an
looking at
answer?
a solution that's going to work. Very complex issue for the country. You have people on both sides of an issue, but we are now in a very strong position. Pro-life people are in a strong position to make a deal that's going to be good and going to be satisfactory for them. If you weren't able to get rid of, you wouldn't even be having a discussion. If you weren't able to get rid of Roe v. Wade, which put pro-life in a dead position, a horrible position. They could kill the baby at any time they wanted to, but we did something that nobody thought was doable. And other Republican presidents, and others, by the way, they wanted to get it out. They also wanted to bring it back to the states, but bringing it back to the states is a less important issue
But that's why
than
it's
the
the
issue that
question
we
about a
just talked
federal
about.
abortion ban. You
Well,
did not say yes or no to that.
It
You did not
depends
say how many
it depends
weeks.
what the deal is. Lindsey Graham's
You did not say
a
how
good
many
man.
weeks.
He's got an idea, and a lot of other people have an idea. And I look at all the
And a
different
lot of people
ideas, and
will
I'll
be
make
curious what
I'll
your
make the right
idea is
decision.
on that. President Trump, we've got more questions to come for you tonight.
I'll
We'll
make
be
the
right back
decision for the
in just a moment.
Woo! So y'all can see thus far, that is kind of cooking right there, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate y'all being here. Don't forget to hit the like button while y'all on here. Let me go ahead and say this right now, folks. If you are in here right now and you're saying something about me interrupting and talking, feel free to go and watch it on another person's channel. Feel free to go and watch it on TV. Feel free to pull it up right now. If you have the internet, you can go to CNN and go there and you can watch this live. You don't have to watch it here with me. That way you don't have to worry about me interrupting. So you will be satisfied. Now, of course, in this particular video, we see that Trump is doing a good job answering the questions. He definitely, you can tell he definitely got around to not answering her directly, which is what a lot of them do. And there is a reason for doing that. The way that he wants to answer this, he's not going to, because he can possibly lose voters on both sides. Let's just keep it real. So, of course, don't act like, oh, he's being a lot. Oh, he is being strategic like any other politician would, because he want to make sure that he's going to get the votes that he's going to need in order to win. So let's just keep it a bean, okay? Now, with that being said, you guys need to pay attention that the CNN host, when you are a person that got cards in your hand, you are supposed to answer. You are supposed to just ask the question. Now, what you need to do is pay attention to how she's responding to him. Look at her body language. Look at her facial expression. She seems to be getting a little frustrated, which does not make sense, because if you are a journalist, you are supposed to be unbiased. You're just supposed to be there asking the questions, let him answer. No, but no, you didn't. No, but no, that's not true. No, you don't. He answered your question. No, that's not true. That's not what happened. No, it's not. No, you asked him a question. He answered. Now, making it personal to where you feel that what he's saying is not true, what you think is not true, that's irrelevant. You're supposed to be asking the questions on the card and leaving it at that. But again, this is what they want to do, because I guarantee you, or your money back, that's not going to happen with Joe Biden. I'm sorry, folks. You can say what you want to. Joe Biden will not be able to sit there and be that sharp. He will not be able to sit there and be that sharp and answer them. Trump is just sitting there firing off and all this. Joe Biden will need a teleprompter or something. He would do something that's going to be off. Let's just keep it real. Now, with me saying this, y'all gonna come in here with y'all assumptions. You're just trying to blah, blah, blah for Trump. No, I'm not. I'm just stating facts. I'm just stating things like it is. There definitely will be a complete differences on how both of these people who are running to be president will perform in something like this. We've seen it all for the past 2 years. They are not coming at Joe Biden like they are coming at Trump. They are not displaying a certain type of animosity body language towards Joe Biden like they are Trump. Period. Again, I know what I'm talking about. All y'all got to do is watch it. Now, what some of you guys in here right now, what y'all have an issue with, now, I get it. Vote for whoever you want to vote for. Vote for whoever you want to vote for. But do not look at this and say that you're going to be completely unbiased when it's obvious that you're not. You should be able to look at both parties and say, well, somebody got it wrong at, what somebody got it right at, despite of what you feel. But some of y'all don't have the mental capacity to do that. Some of y'all are of the capacity mentally that you would disown your family members. You don't want to have nothing to do with your family members. You getting mad at, well, if they're voting Republican, I'm going to completely cut. That's some of the dumbest stuff in the whole wide world, because Joe Biden or Donald Trump don't know who any of you guys are in here. Donald Trump don't, well, he knows who I am because I met him and talked with him and everything like that. I'm just saying it's the truth. And I'm saying this because Donald Trump and Joe Biden don't give a good goddamn don't care about who you guys are. But y'all defend them with your life, and y'all are disowning your own family members. Y'all are not having no Thanksgivings and family gatherings, all because of who you voted for. And to me, that's stupid. Let's get back to it.
What's your question tonight?
Good evening, Mr. President. Title 42 is expected to expire tomorrow. Our southern border and now our northern border are experiencing record migration. We learned on May 2nd that the Biden administration plans on deploying 1,500 troops to the southern border. Do you agree with deploying troops to the border, and how will a Trump administration slow down the rate of migrants coming across all our borders?
Sure. A very fair question, especially since tomorrow is going to be a day of infamy. You're going to have tens of thousands of people pouring into our country. Even the judge, the judge overruled them when they wanted to terminate it early. And he said, that you better extend this thing. The judge in Texas said, I hope you're going to extend this, but this is my policy that they're letting terminate because they lost in court. They wanted to go earlier. You're going to have millions of people pouring into our country right now at a level that nobody's ever seen before. These people are sick. Anybody that wants this to happen to our country, they're destroying our country, and this should not be allowed to happen. How they're not going to do a version of Title 42 or my Title 42, which was tough. If people are sick and have infectious diseases and lots of other problems, we don't want them being into our country. We have enough problems right now. We have problems like we've never had in the history of our country.
But Mr. President,
our country is being destroyed.
The reason it's ending is because the health policy, the COVID era pandemic emergency is coming to an end. That's what Title 42 was. You put it in place because
That's
of COVID.
true, but
when it comes to big questions about what your immigration policy would look like if you are reelected, some of your Republican rivals have criticized you for not fulfilling the promises that you made on the campaign trail, like finishing the border wall. So how did voters know that you would get those done if you're reelected?
I did finish the wall. I built a wall. I
You
built
didn't finish the
hundreds of
wall.
miles of wall, and I finished it. And then I said, we have to build some more because there are areas like water going through a dam. There are some areas where a lot of people are coming. You close up one and they come into another. And we started another 100 miles of wall. In fact, I said to my people, if we start this and don't finish it, and then we had a rigged election, I'm sorry to say it.
The election was not rigged,
okay,
Mr.
good, I
President.
know.
You can't
I'm
keep
glad
saying
you're
that all
saying
night
that.
long.
And so
You cannot
then
keep saying
they
that the
took
election
over
was
and they
rigged.
decided not to finish it. It would have taken them 3 weeks. I built hundreds of miles of wall. If we didn't have it, it would be hard to believe it could be any worse. They're just letting people flow into our country. Look, a country has to have borders. There's never been anything like is happening to our country right now.
You built about 52 miles of new wall when you were in office,
Say this.
Mr. President. It wasn't the complete wall. One other thing that with
No, but I have to
immigration,
respond to that.
with your immigration, it was only about
Okay,
52
can I
miles of
respond?
new wall.
This is what she does. I built hundreds of miles. Some of the wall was up there and it would be laying on the ground, rusted, rotten steel, rusted, rotten wood, a little. And what the radical left crazy Democrats did, if there's a piece of wood laying down, they consider that a wall. I built 30-foot walls that go down 7 feet into the ground. If there was a little piece of wood sitting in the ground, they said, oh, he's not building a wall. We already had a wall. Because this is the game. They're a party of disinformation.
It's not a game, Mr. President. It's about 52 miles of new wall. One other immigration policy you had
I built
when you were
new
in
wall.
office.
I built new wall.
52 miles,
For
according
hundreds
to
of miles.
CBP, Mr.
What I did is I
President.
replaced other wall that was laying down, that was up and rotting in the ground for 30 years. Some of it was steel that you couldn't even
Mr. President,
see.
it was only about 52 miles of new wall. But moving on, another immigration policy you had was the zero tolerance immigration policy that separated families at the border. If you are reelected, are you ruling out instituting that?
Well, when you have that policy, people don't come. If the family hears that they're going to be separated, they love their family. They don't come. So I know it sounds harsh, but if you remember they said I was building prisons for children. It turned out that it was Obama that was building
But
the
would you
prisons for the
re-implement
children.
that if you're reelected? Is
Well,
that what you're saying?
we have to save our country, all right? We
So it
can't
sounds
afford,
like that's a yes.
no. When you say to a family that if you come, we're going to break you up, they don't come. And we can't afford to have any more. Look at New York City. Look what's happening. They're living in Central Park in New York City. The city is being swamped. Los Angeles is being swamped. Iowa is being swamped. Our whole country is being destroyed. Millions of people are coming into our country. And you know what the number is going to be, in my opinion, by the end of the year? Not the 4 million that you hear and the 3 million. I think it's going to be 15 million people. And in these people, they have no idea where they come from. They come from 129 different countries so far. 120,
Mr.
not just the
President,
four that we talked
Just to
about.
put a button on that, it sounds like what you're saying is that you're not ruling out re-implementing that immigration policy. I want to get to another voter. Caitlin Boissonneau is a student here at St. Anselm College. She's a Republican. This will be the first election that she has voted in. What's your question for the president, Caitlin?
Hello, President Trump.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
The current administration has made it clear that we should continue to provide military equipment to Ukraine so that they can defend themselves. Do you support this decision? And how would you deal with the increasing threat posed by Vladimir Putin?
First of all, thank you very much. It's really nice. And it's an important question, so important, because we're giving away so much equipment. We don't have ammunition for ourselves right now. We don't have ammunition for ourselves. We're giving away so much. But here's the thing. I have to say it to start off, no longer matters. If I were president, this would have never happened. And even the Democrats admit that. Putin knew it would have never happened. And his pipeline would have never happened. A lot of things would have never happened. But this
Which
would never have
Democrats say
happened.
that,
And
Mr.
all those
President?
dead people, both Russian and Ukrainian, they wouldn't be dead today. And all those cities that are blown up and disintegrated right to the ground, that wouldn't have happened. Okay, now, here's the problem. We've given so far $171 billion. They've given, meaning European Union, which is approximately the same size altogether as our economy. They've given about 20. So we're at 170, let's say, and they're at 20. You don't have to know too much about history to realize, or geography, to realize that they're a little bit more affected than we are, okay? So they've got to put up a lot more money because they're taking advantage of us like every other country did. That's why I ended NAFTA and replaced it with the USMCA, Mexico,
But on
Canada.
this issue, Mr. President, I should know, I don't know any Democrats who have said they don't believe Putin would have been invaded if you were president. But her question is, would you continue to give Ukraine money and weapons if you're elected? What's the answer?
I have a very good relationship with President Zelensky because, as you know, he backed me up with the phony impeachment hoax #1 when he said the president didn't do anything wrong. So
That
I
was when
happen
you
to
asked him
like.
for an
So I
investigation in
happen to
exchange
like.
for
Yeah, that's right.
weapons.
And I was totally exonerated, by the way. Just a waste of time and money.
You were impeached over that. You
Yeah, I
were
was
impeached over
impeached.
that. But let's stay on topic here, Mr. President, because the question is, would you give Ukraine
I
weapons
was
and funding?
impeached by a crazy woman named Nancy
But the
Pelosi.
question
who
here is,
sympathized.
would you give Ukraine weapons and funding if you were
I would
elected?
sit down. Let me just put it a nicer way. If I'm president, I will have that war settled in one day, 24 hours.
How would you settle that war in one day?
Woo!
I'll meet with Zelensky. They both have weaknesses and they both have strengths. And within 24 hours, that war will be settled. It'll be over. It'll be
Do
absolutely
you
over.
want Ukraine to
Now,
win
if
this
he
war?
did that, that would be epic.
I don't think in terms of winning and losing. I think in terms of getting it settled so we stop killing all these people and breaking down this country. Now,
What do you? Can I just follow up on that? You
but
said
one
you
of the
don't
things
think
you
in
have
terms
to
of
do
winning
is you have
and
to get
losing.
you have
Mr.
to get
President, can I
Europe.
just follow up on that because that's a really important
Excuse me, let
statement
me
that you
just
just
follow
made
up.
there. Can you say if you want Ukraine or Russia to win this war?
I want everybody to stop dying. They're dying. Russians and Ukrainians. I want them to stop dying.
Dying.
And I'll have that done. I'll have that done in 24 hours. I'll have it done. You need the power of the presidency to do it.
But you won't say that you want Ukraine to win. You
You
said
know what
when
I'll
you were
say?
in-
I'll
when you
say
were in
this.
office-
I want Europe to put up more money because they're in for 20 billion. We're in for 170, and
But
they
that's not
should
an
be.
answer about who
And
should
they
win
should
the war.
equalize. They have plenty of money. They should equalize. I got with NATO.
But I'm
When I
asking you
sat
about
down, I got
Ukraine
them
right
to
now,
put up
Mr.
hundreds
President.
of billions of dollars that they weren't paying under Obama and Bush and all of these other presidents. That's why they're able to help them fight the war because of the money I got. But I
let's
want
talk about
Europe.
what's happening in
Excuse
Ukraine,
me.
Mr.
I want
President.
Europe to put up more money. because they're laughing at us. They think we're a bunch of jerks. We're spending $170 billion for faraway land, and they're right next door to that land, and they're in for 20. I don't think so.
When it comes to what's happening there, when you were in office, you said that you respected President Putin. Do
Yeah, I
you
do.
still respect him today?
He made a tremendous mistake. He was a smart guy, you know. I remember I said he was smart, she was smart. They
What
said
was his
he
mistake?
said President Xi of China, right? Is smart. Okay, 1.5
Appreciate the
billion
super chat,
people. He's
Gerard.
the ruler of 1.5 billion people. I said, yeah, he's a smart guy. How dare he say he's smart? Of course he's smart. They want you to say he's a stupid person. Okay, he's not a stupid person. He's very smart. He's very cunning. And Putin made a bad mistake, in my opinion.
What was his
It would have,
mistake?
his mistake was going in. He would have never gone in if I was president. We used to talk about it there.
Facts.
Do you believe that he is a war criminal?
What?
Do you believe that Putin is a war criminal? He's responsible for the deaths of
Uh-oh.
thousands of
Well, I think
Ukrainian
this,
men
I
and
think
women
it's
and
something
civil
that
children.
should not be discussed now. It should be discussed later, because right now we have to get a war. If you say he's a war criminal, it's going to be a lot tougher to make a deal to get this thing stopped. Because if he's going to be a war criminal where people are going to go and grab him and execute him, he's going to fight a lot harder than he's fighting, you know, under the other circumstance. That's something to be discussed at a later date.
But isn't it
Right now,
important
we
to
want
call
to
it
get
what
that
it
war
is?
settled. And I'm not talking about the money either. I'm talking about all the lives that are being, the number of people being killed in that war is far greater than you're hearing. When they blow up a city and those buildings come pouring down and then they say 2 people were injured, no, hundreds and thousands of people are being killed. And we have to get that war settled.
We have more with former President Trump right after this. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with questions from voters right after that.
All right, folks. So appreciate y'all all being in here, whether you agree or whether you disagree. Still appreciate you being here. Don't forget right now, something that you guys do, something that you guys can do that is very, very, very easy is to click the thumbs up button. At least appreciate that I'm streaming this and y'all all in here and able to talk instead of y'all just sitting at home talking to your wife next to you or talking to your husband next to you. You're able to get in here and see the differences of people's opinions, what they think and whatnot. Yes, I appreciate some of y'all that have already donated in Cash App. There it is right there. You can see it right there. It's the money sign, whatever. If you got a Cash App, if you donate, appreciate it. If you don't, I still appreciate it. And one of the things that you guys can do that is absolutely free is click the like button, because it helps with the channel growth. It helps with the circulation of this on a YouTube algorithm. So I appreciate y'all doing that. All right. Don't forget to hit that button. Debbie B, how are you doing, sis? I haven't heard from you in a while. Hopefully you're doing well. You and Paco. But yeah, like I said, you can state whether, I mean, some people don't like Trump, some people do, some people don't like Biden, some people do. So you free. This is what freedom about. Y'all got y'all differences of opinion. You can state them in here. What's going on, Zeta? I just want to throw that out there for y'all. So it's on commercial right now. So again, I'm going over there to check on my live stream real quick, and almost 280 people in here, and there's only 180 some likes. So hit that like button, folks. Hit that like button. Deborah says agree to disagree, Deborah, but that's hard for some people to do. Some people don't have the mental capacity to do that, because then the insults and everything start. Look what you guys are saying. Mr. Phil said, how can anyone defend Biden at this point? Anybody in the chat want to address what he just said? He said, how can anyone defend Biden at this point? I'd like to know too. James Curtis, I appreciate that, sir. For those of you that are in Facebook, I know that you guys can't hit the like button, so you still can hit it in Facebook, though. Well, that's a long commercial. Well, I know they got to get their money, so I heard they're going to make it so Biden don't got a debate. I mean, he didn't have to campaign, so I mean, why not? Know what I mean? What, Daddy B? No, this is your moment. This is your moment. This is astounding, though. Hit that like button, everybody. Hit the like button. If you're on YouTube, click that like button. It's free. It's free. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome back to CNN's Republican Presidential Town Hall with former President Trump. President Trump, we have a lot more voters' questions, I should note, in here in New Hampshire to get to, but I also want to talk about some of the other investigations that you're facing. We talked about others at the top, but one of those is the special counsel's investigation into classified documents that were found at Mar-a-Lago. Why did you take those documents with you when you left the White House?
I had every right to under the Presidential Records Act. You have the Presidential Records Act. I was there and I took what I took and it gets declassified. Biden, on the other hand, he has 1,850 boxes. He had boxes sent to Chinatown, where they don't speak even English in that Chinatown we're talking about.
But I got to stop you right there
because
because
they talk about us. Just so you understand, I had every right to do it. I didn't make a secret of it. You know, the boxes were stationed outside of the White House. People were taking pictures of the GSA of the various people.
I got to stop you right there, though, because the Presidential Records Act, which is not well known to a lot of people, I read it. It does not say that you can take documents with you. It says actually that they are the property of the federal government.
You negotiate, you make a deal. It's not criminal, by the way. The Presidential Records Act is not criminal. And just so you know,
it does not say you can negotiate to take the documents with you.
Can I tell you? Just so you understand, the Presidential Records Act is not criminal. I took the documents. I'm allowed to. You know who else took them? Obama took them. Nixon took them. Reagan took them.
Uh-oh. Rules for thee, not for me.
The National Archive says that President Obama
even Jimmy Carter,
take documents.
even Mike Pence had some documents, and he's a very honorable guy.
You referenced
but you know
Biden.
who took them more than anybody is Joe Biden. He has 1,800 boxes.
Bum, 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 bum.
Nobody knows where they are. 1,800, and nobody talks about him.
Mr. President,
And
that's not accurate.
and they put a rough guy on us, and they. In the
I think
meantime,
it's
they have
important, Mr.
nobody.
President, to actually set the record straight here. They took documents, including President or Vice President Pence. When they realized they had documents, they turned them back over. The difference is that you waited to turn yours over, and it was a year-and-a-half effort that included a subpoena with those documents. One question about what happened when you had those documents.
It included a raid on my house. That's what it included.
But
they didn't raid.
You'd gotten a subpoena, and they had not been turned over yet.
They didn't raid Biden's house. You know what happened? They put him in the house. That's the one with the Corvette where the documents were laying all over the floor. That was fine. And you know who happens to be at Mar-a-Lago? Secret Service, and they're phenomenal. I have Secret Service. He didn't have Secret Service. The other thing, the vice president cannot declassify. He didn't have the right to declassify. He has documents from when he was a senator. And even Democrat senators say, I can't believe it. No, I went by the Presidential Records Act.
That's not
and
what
we
the
were
Presidential
negotiating
Records
with
Act
NARA.
says. That's not what it says,
And
Mr.
NARA
President.
has red flagged a thing called the Constitution of the United States and the Bill of Rights because they consider them
Mr.
dangerous
President, that's
documents.
not what it
Those
says,
are
and
the
I
people
should
we're
note.
dealing
And
with.
I should note that there is a special counsel investigating your document situation, also President Biden's document situation. When it comes to your documents, did you ever show those classified documents to anyone?
Not really. I would have the right to. By the way, they were declassified
What do you mean, not
after.
really?
Not that I can think of. Let me just tell you, I have the absolute right to do whatever I want with them. I have the right. I was negotiating with NARA. Do you know what NARA is?
The National Archives.
Extremely left
negotiate
group
with
of
them.
people. Extremely left. And I was negotiating with
They're
them.
not
All of a
left,
sudden,
they're
they
bipartisan.
raided my house. They didn't raid the house of Joe Biden. They didn't raid Obama.
But Joe Biden didn't ignore a subpoena to get those documents back like
Joe
you
Biden
did. And so
took
that's the question.
1,850 boxes.
But that's the question that investigators have, I think, is why you held on to those documents when you knew the federal government was seeking them and then had given you a subpoena to return them.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Can I talk?
Yeah, what's
You
the
mind?
answer?
Do you mind?
I would like for you to answer the question.
Okay, it's very simple to answer.
That's why I asked it.
It's very simple to. You're a nasty person, I'll tell you.
Can you answer why you
simple.
held on to the documents?
I was negotiating, and we were talking to NARA, that's Washington, to bring whatever they want. They can have whatever they want. When we left Washington, We had the boxes lined up on the sidewalk outside for everybody. People are taking pictures of them. Everybody knew we were taking those boxes. And the GSA, the government service, the GSA was the one taking them. They brought them down to Mar-a-Lago. We were negotiating with NARA. All of a sudden, they raid our house. When Biden had his documents, he won't give back the 1,850 boxes. And you're going to find some real gems in there.
But it was
So
Biden
you
who
can't have
alerted
all
them that
these
he had
different
the
sets of-
documents.
all
The
these
National
different
Archives
sets of-
reached out to you to get your documents back. Why did you not turn them over when you got a subpoena
Because we were
asking for you to turn
negotiating
them
with
over?
them. We were negotiating with them as per the Presidential Records Act. We were negotiating with NARA.
That's not what
Very
the
nice
Presidential Records
people,
Act says. I've
but they
seen
got to
it.
love our Constitution a little bit more, because, and they shouldn't red flag it, by the way. Very nice people. We were negotiating with NARA. And that's what the Presidential Records Act says, because Richard Nixon, surprisingly, had problems. And he had a lot of problems dealing with NARA. And they ended up passing
that's why
legislation
they
called the
created the
Presidential
PRA.
Records Act, just for this kind of a thing. We were
My
dealing
last
with them. We
question
were
on this
talking.
on
Excuse
this
me. Wait a
subject,
minute.
Mr.
Wait.
President.
We were talking to them. We would have done it, but all of a sudden they raided the house. Now, why hasn't the FBI raided Biden?
But I just explained to
Why?
you why.
No.
It's because he's the one, they alerted the
1,850
government that they
okay.
had those documents and had them come and get the documents
Why
from
did
his house.
No, they
My
didn't
question
take
for you, though, when it comes to documents, do you still have any classified documents in your possession?
Are you ready?
Do you?
No, I don't have anything. I have no classified documents. And by the way, they become automatically declassified when I took them. But
No, you
why?
have to declassify
Let me ask
them.
you a question. Why is it that Biden had 9 boxes in Chinatown? And he gets a lot of money from China. Why is that? And
There
why,
is no
why
evidence
aren't
of that,
people?
Mr. President. No, you,
No,
you cannot
why
say
aren't
that. There is
people
no
bringing that
evidence
up?
of that, Mr.
And why don't
President.
they put this
What
guy
you're
Jack
referring
Smith
to
and his
is an
group of
office that he had.
thugs?
Mr.
Why don't
President,
they put him in charge of that?
I need to stop you right there because there's no evidence of what you just said there. What you're referring to there is an office that he had
No.
after
at
leaving
the
the
University
vice
of Pennsylvania.
presidency.
Wrong.
He had a temporary office. But I want to ask you about another investigation
You're so
that you're
wrong.
facing.
You don't know the subject.
I do know the
He
subject,
had
and I
one
do
at
know
University
the
of
facts, Mr. President.
Pennsylvania, but he also had
I want to
9
move on to
boxes
another
in
investigation
Chinatown.
that you're facing, which is the one that's
She doesn't
happening
understand
in
it.
Georgia, where they are investigating there your efforts to overturn the election results in the state of Georgia.
I did
At the
nothing wrong. It was
center
a
of that,
perfect phone call.
let me finish my question. At the center of that is that call that you had with the Secretary
Perfect
of State,
call.
Brad Raffensperger.
Yeah, sure.
Given the fact that there are indictments expected to come in that case this summer, is that a call you would make again today?
Yeah, I called questioning the election. I thought it was a rigged election. I thought it had a lot of problems. I had I guess he's Secretary of State. I called. Listen to this. There are like 7 lawyers on the call, many of them from there. We're having a call. We're having a normal call. Nobody said, oh, gee, he shouldn't have said that. Why? If this call was bad, I questioned the election.
You
If
asked
this
him to
call
find
was
you
bad,
votes.
I didn't ask him to find anything. Let me
We've
just tell
heard
you,
the audio
if
tape,
this
Mr.
call
President.
was
There's an
bad,
audio of you asking him to
I
find you
said,
11,000
you owe
something
me votes because the election was rigged. That election was rigged. And if this call was bad, why didn't him and his lawyers hang up? How dare you say that? This was a perfect
Well, they were
phone
clearly
call.
concerned enough. They recorded the call, and I should note that, of
This
course,
was a call that was made to question the results of election. And when we can't make a call to question election results, then this country ought to just forget about it.
you weren't just questioning the election results.
I
You
was
were
questioning
asking
the
him to
election.
find you votes. And I should note that there is no evidence of fraud. There is no rigged election in the state of Georgia. I want to get back to the audience, though, Mr. President, because those are false claims you're making about what happened in Georgia. Jordan Sullenberger is here. He's an undeclared voter from Hollis. He voted for you in 2020. Jordan, what is your question for President Trump tonight?
Thank you, Mr. Trump.
Thank you very much.
I'm 26. I'm a veteran. I help manage a private aviation company.
You want a job?
I'd love one. Yeah.
I'm looking for somebody very good.
I'm not for mandates or government interference in private business, but I've
Right.
seen Republicans going after us like DeSantis after Disney.
Right.
What would you do as president to protect us from government interference?
Well, I'm the one that really wants to protect you. All of these fake investigations of me are about election interference. They think because I'm leading Biden by 11 points, 7 points, 9 points, I'm leading DeSanctimonious by a lot, by 40 points or 45 points. I think he ought to just relax and take it easy and think about the future, because right now his future is not looking so good. I will tell you this. We are really putting it to Biden, but he's putting it to himself because the economy stinks, inflation is horrible, and the border is a disaster. And by the way, The way he got out of Afghanistan was the single most embarrassing moment in the history of our country.
Mr. President, I have one more question for you here tonight, and I think while we're in front of the voters here in New Hampshire, this is a fundamental question for you. You are running in the 2024 race. If you are the Republican nominee and you are in that 2024 race, will you commit tonight to accepting the results of the 2024 election?
Yeah, if I think it's an honest election, absolutely, I would.
Will you commit to accepting the results of the election regardless of the outcome?
Do you want me to answer it again? If I think it's an honest election, I would be honored to. And right now, we are so far ahead of both Democrat and Republican. And you know what? If I don't win, this country is going to be in big trouble. It's so sad to see what's happening.
But no commitment there on the accepting the results regardless of the outcome.
If it's an honest election, correct. I will.
Okay, so not committing to accepting the 2024 election results or acknowledging what happened in 2020.
Go ahead.
President Trump, I want to thank you for coming here tonight. This is an important conversation with voters to hear and to have. Thank you to our audience and to our host, St. Anselm College. CNN's coverage continues with Anderson Cooper and Jake Tapper.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Kevin. Good job. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you very much. I like you guys. We love New Hampshire. Thank you. Thank you, Woody. Good luck, Woody.
Thanks, everyone.
We're looking there at St. Anselm College in Manchester, New Hampshire. Tonight's CNN Town Hall, moderated by Caitlin Collins, the first of the 2024 presidential campaign, is now in the books. Good evening from New York.
Oh, from Washington, and it was an interesting night. Mr. Trump's first lie was told just seconds into the night with his false familiar claim that the 2020 election was, quote, a rigged election. And the falsehoods kept coming fast and furious about the January 6th insurrection, about the threat to Vice President Pence, about Pence's ability to overturn the election, about COVID, about the economy, and more. He called a black law enforcement officer a thug. He said people here in Washington, D.C. at Chinatown don't speak English. He attacked Caitlin as a nasty woman because she was trying to get him to answer a question. Perhaps most chillingly, the day after a 9-person jury of his peers in New York found him liable for sexual battery and defamation and ordered him to pay writer E. Jean Carroll $5 million, he made fun of her account of her sexual assault. And many in the audience laughed.
And applauded. The former president making his first appearance tonight on this network since the 2016 election. He spoke with and took questions from New Hampshire Republican and undeclared voters who plan to take part in the GOP primary. And it took place just a day after, as Jake referenced, Manhattan federal jury found him liable of sexually abusing and defaming writer E. Jean Carroll.
Let's get right to it. With me here in studio, CNN's Audie Cornish, Abby Phillip, Dana Bash, John King, Laura Coates, and Jamie Gangel. Let me start with you, Dana. We don't have enough time to fact check every lie he told, but he started off with the election one, and boy, he really just never let that bone go.
And it's pretty clear the evidence is now out there that he is going to continue to tell that lie, not just to the audience where he has an echo chamber, conservative media, but unbiased, straight down the middle media. The people he's trying to get beyond his base now.
I am just joking, guys. I'm messing with y'all. Just wanted to jump in here real quick to let you guys know I appreciate you all being in here. And I want you guys to make sure that you hit that like button. Everybody in here, hit the thumbs up button for my channel. Okay? Hit the thumbs up button. Okay? I'm going to go right back to it, but I'm going to go check my live stream right now to see if any of you have hit it. And I appreciate the $20 super chat. Okay? So, I'm checking my channel right now. There's 340 some people in here. And let's see how many likes we got in here. How many likes? We got 286 likes in here. Can we at least get it to 300 or close to the 340? Hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate if y'all did that. All right, let's go back to it. I'll let y'all hear the more of the. I'm just messing with y'all. I know Democrats getting pissed off at me right now. Let's get some diversity, equity, and inclusion. Yeah, they'll listen to a black woman.
He thinks the last election was free and fair. This is a person who, from the time he was in the presidency up until now, is deeply confused about the truth and is lying intentionally to his supporters
Confused?
and plans to do that. And I don't really see anything that's changed about Trump, frankly. I mean, between when he left the White House and today. So his aides can say what they want, but Trump is Trump. And he hasn't changed, and he continues to do all of the things that he did for 4 years.
He really praised a bunch of those violent criminals in prison right now for the January 6th insurrection, just talking about pardoning them, praising them as police and firefighters, not really talking about the fact that they were physically attacking law enforcement officers on the Capitol.
Well, he was provided a spotlight in a key state with a warm audience that received his comments with applause and laughter. So I think it was easy for him to make these kinds of comments. And what this does give us is a preview of the general election, possibly, right? And I say this, I mean, not lightly, because we're still 500 days away. But if anyone wants to know what the rest of his election patter will sound like, it's just this. It's more of this, only now we actually know, for instance, that he's been told multiple times to his face in reports he's commissioned that he lost the election. So it's us. He's the same. We're different. We all know more. And it's really what voters who are not in that room think about it.
Look, he is who he is, and he is who he was, in the sense that he, as you said, within the first minute, he told his first lie. He went on throughout the thing. I think that one of the stunning things to see, though, in the sad laughter when he was mocking E. Jean Carroll,
really just
from the audience, is the hold he has on the Republican Party. And so welcome to the Trump paradox. CNN reached out to Republican undeclared voters in New Hampshire. That is a honest reflection of Republican beliefs in New Hampshire. He is by far and away the Republican frontrunner. Nobody votes for, what, 7 months? So there's time to see. But he has this enormous grip on the Republican Party. He knows that. He is celebrating it. That's why he mocked Ron DeSantis and the others. But there is zero evidence, and you just saw it on live TV, that he wants to change, will think about changing, even for strategic reasons, even if he didn't believe it, right? If he could say, I'm the faraway front runner, let me try to move back to the middle. Let me have a different answer on abortion as opposed to no real answer on abortion. He kept ducking the question. Let me say Joe Biden won. I'll get him next time. Do something to try to reach out to the suburban voters that he just repulsed, who ran from the Republican Party in 2018, 2020, and again in 2022. He did nothing to do that because he is who he is. He knows we live in a 50-50 country, and he knows if things go his way, especially at this moment, given the unsatisfaction with the incumbent, I know a lot of people won't like this when I say it, he has a plausible path to win again.
Of course, absolutely.
You can put the map together, and he thinks he can win by doing just that, which is a lot of lies.
So, Laura, let me ask you a legal matter. Obviously, your bailiwick. E. Jean Carroll was awarded $5 million from him yesterday. A jury of his peers, and he basically provided almost no defense. He didn't show up. His deposition, his tape deposition, was a travesty in which, as Caitlin noted, he doubled down on his Access Hollywood claim about what you get away with, unfortunately or fortunately, as he said, if you're a star. He went after her again tonight.
Yeah.
He just won. I mean, she
worse
just won $3 million for defamation yesterday. He called her a whack job. I don't know if we have some of that sound. Let's run it.
I want to ask you about a significant verdict that was reached yesterday. I know this is something you want to weigh in on as well. A Manhattan jury found that you sexually abused the writer E. Jean Carroll and defamed her. You've denied this, but what do you say to voters who say it disqualifies you from being president?
Well, there aren't too many of them because my poll numbers just came out. They went up. Okay. I think I'm the only person in history who had a charge like that. And usually you leave office, you say, I'm sorry, but I'm going to back home. I'm back home to my family and everything. I'm going to be resigned. My poll numbers went up, and they went up with the other fake charge too. Because what's happening is they're doing this for election interference. This woman, I don't know her. I never met her. I have no idea who she is. I
Can I
swear
ask
on
you,
my
because-
children, which I'd never do. I have no idea who this woman. This is a fake story, made up story. We had a horrible Clinton appointed judge. He was horrible. He allowed her to put everything in. He allowed us to put nothing in.
Mr.
This is
President,
a
you're
fake
recounting your version of
story.
events here right now to the audience. You referenced the trial. You did not go to the trial and actually
That's right.
testify. Do you wish that you had
No,
testified?
it wouldn't have made a difference. This was a rigged deal. This was my lawyer said, sir, you don't have to do it. I actually said, I think I should. It would be respectful. They said, sir, don't do it. This is a fake story and you don't want to give it credibility.
One
That's
thing
why
you-
I didn't go.
One thing you did do in this.
And I swear, and I've never done that. And I swear to, I have no idea who the hell, she's a
Mr.
whack
President,
job.
She's a whack job. Now, his lawyer, Joe Tacopina, is saying that they're going to appeal, even though I don't know what kind of grounds for appeal they really have, given the fact that they didn't really mount much of a defense. And there is such a record he has of women accusing him of sexual assault and harassment. How does his going on CNN and calling the woman who was just awarded $5 million after a jury found him liable for sexual abuse and defamation, calling her a whack job, does that play into his attempt to get an appeal?
Before I answer your question, let me just be very clear. What we saw tonight was outrageous. Absolutely. I'm a very objective person. The idea that you would have somebody who is vying to be the head of the executive branch say that the jury pools in the United States of America are not fair, that presumptively we must doubt them because of how they may vote in elections, that you would allude to what kind of a woman, that was his phrase, would engage in similar behavior. The idea of trying to litigate in the court of public opinion what has already been decided in a court of law. It's a phrase called res judicata, which is different than double jeopardy we all are familiar with. The idea you cannot try somebody twice for the same crime. That's in the criminal context. But courts will look at it and say, hold on, is there a common nucleus of facts here that suggests that we've already dealt with this issue? Your comment based on this circumstance, what you've said. It really is up to a judge to figure out whether you can bring charges or bring a lawsuit, again, based on that very notion. It's kind of novel territory in the context of what he's saying tonight. But the idea that he is making that statement, going beyond that today to take credit for the Dobbs decision. Did we all catch that?
Yeah, we're going to get to that in a second.
I did that.
Yeah.
I just have to get this in because it was a Supreme Court of the United States who are 9 Supreme Court members. We know that they are inherently appointed in a political fashion. But for this president to say that he usurped essentially the role of the Supreme Court doesn't bode well for the credibility of our courts in this world. And let me just say this. I'm sorry to cut you off because as the lawyer watching this, I have to say, I would be salivating if I were the attorneys for E. Jean Carroll, if I were the prosecutors, if I were Jack Smith, if I were in Georgia, because every single statement will line up in a column against here are the potential claims.
Yeah. Jamie Gengel, what are you hearing? You have so many Republican sources all over the country. What are you hearing?
People are appalled about what they saw tonight. They were appalled by the audience's reaction. And as one person said to me, if you have forgotten what he did on January 6th, tonight was a wake-up call.
How are you going to say that they were appalled by the audience reaction? We don't even know that yet.
Democracy, the rule of law, the justice system. He called a Capitol Hill police officer a thug. We've already talked about E. Jean Carroll. I did not get one positive. My phone blew up over it. People were outraged by it. And I would end with this. Everyone.
I call BS on that.
They could be a Republican running against him. You just saw tonight what you're up against on a debate stage.
Can I just add one thing on that note? Chris Christie just sent a tweet out. He's seriously considering running. We haven't talked about what the former president said about Ukraine and Russia in detail. And what Christie said was, Donald Trump says he would end the war in Ukraine in 24 hours. He said, despite how ridiculous this is, I suspect he would do it by turning over Ukraine to Putin and Russia, Putin's puppet.
So let's go to Anderson in New York. Anderson?
Jake, with me here, 5 CNN political commentators and senior political commentators from across the partisan spectrum. Van Jones, Kristen Soltis Anderson, David Axelrod, Alyssa Farrar Griffin, David Urban. Also joining us is Florida Republican Congressman and Trump supporter Byron Donald's. David Axelrod, your thoughts on what you saw?
This is going to be interesting.
Well, look, I mean, in one way, my thoughts were summarized by the previous panel. But I will say, anyone who has been paying attention and expected Donald Trump to be anything other than what he was tonight really has misread the situation.
Facts.
That is who he is.
Yep.
And that is the core of his appeal to his base. I said to Dave earlier, there's no R on his gear shift. He never concedes any error. He never concedes doing anything wrong. The idea that he was going to show up and say, I've thought this through and I really, I should have done a few things differently. That might have been good political advice for a general election. That's not who he is. And that's sort of, that authentically who Donald Trump is. But it does underscore one thing, and I don't use this term lightly. There are lots of professions in which sort of being a sociopath you get punished for. It's not a quality that is an advantage in many settings. But if you're a politician and you're just willing to blow through facts and blow through challenges and insist on your version of the truth, there's some advantage to that, and he's proved it.
Kristen?
This is the Donald Trump that we have always known. He is who he is. And if you are a voter who is looking at next November and thinking you're dreading this rematch between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, we got confirmation that the rematch is a rerun, that we've already seen exactly what Donald Trump is, and he's not bringing some new Donald Trump 2.0 to the campaign trail. I do think it was notable that he brought a prop in terms of the printout of tweets and clips and things, specifically around January 6th, because you can tell that he wants to make the case. Look, you think I'm the chaos guy, but actually under Biden, that's chaos, right? He talks about the border, crime, gas prices. And then he undercuts his own message that he's actually not the chaos guy by saying he would pardon the folks on January 6th. You can see what message he's trying to drive, but he can't help himself undercut it at every turn.
And then he talked about the January 6th, those who are in prison, saying that they are living in hell, concerned about.
Look, I mean, unreformed, unrepentant, unimproved,
Here go this
rerun
simp.
Donald. And
Just do this straight
if you're
fake.
watching this, trying to figure out what's
Fake
going to happen
cry,
to America,
always trying to be all
you
sensitive.
should be
He
very
fake.
worried. He threw Ukraine under the bus. Just
So,
threw him under the bus.
we don't have no business
So
being
a vote
there.
for this guy is a vote for a Putin victory. Period. Point blank. You can't get away from that. He would not say that he wouldn't pardon people who've been convicted in U.S. courts of seditious conspiracy, a criminal thug group called the Proud Boys. That's an easy no. I'm not gonna pardon traitors.
Here we
He
go
wouldn't
with the
even
Trump
give you
Proud Boy
that.
stuff
He
again.
called the black police officer a thug. He talked about Chinatown.
Here we go. Call
All
the black
dogs
police
were there.
officer.
This is rerun Donald. No improvement, no reflection, no repentance, no remorse. And that's what you're voting for if you vote for this.
I
Here we
honestly
go.
found it jarring to watch. And just kind of a quick recap. He refused to call Vladimir Putin a war criminal. He did not commit to continuing aid to Ukraine. He basically alluded to restarting the inhumane family separation policy at the southern border. He once again repeatedly denied that he lost the election, which he did in 2020. And then he made light of sexual assault. And even more horrifyingly, some of the audience members laughed. This is a man who is so wholly unfit to be president of the United States. I hope that was clear as day to viewers. And I just want to say one thing, because some important policy issues did come up. But what I would encourage folks, any Republican running for office or considering running for president wants to secure the border. They want to bring down inflation. They want to deal with the economy. They want strong American leadership abroad. They will do that without the chaos, the insanity, and throwing our allies under the bus the way Donald Trump will.
David?
So I'm down here at the lone end of the table for a reason, I think. Look, what explains the fact to America, maybe Jamie Gangelsfeld was blown up from friends she knows, but half the United States still likes this guy, right? You heard John King say he may be the next president of the United States, right? He may be the next president of the United States. So I know there's this, he's a terrible human being. He said all these bad things, but a lot of Americans listened to what he said and said, well, yeah, that's bad, but it's better than the current situation. Or it's bad, but I can't take any more of this. The border, they're watching what's happening on the border now. And they say, well, at least when Trump was in, it was this, right? So I hear what everyone's saying. He did this. He's much better. President's much better. I always say this when he's talking about prospective things or his record rather than talking about 2020 and the election and how it was stolen, or January 6th. I think he's got a large record of accomplishments he could have talked about tonight and ran on, which he didn't, which I was hoping to hear more of that. But, everybody who's watching out on this CNN network, who may be wringing their hands and saying this guy's terrible, they better get ready, because he may be the next president of the United States. I will say he did make news, at least in my opinion, on the abortion front, because every other candidate that I've heard, they said, I will vote, unceremoniously, I will support a total ban on abortion at a federal level. And former President Trump refused to say that. He said, I will negotiate something that's best for the most amount of people. I mean, it seemed almost like, he was going to try to go back to, 15 weeks or whatever it was, kind of, under a lot of states, and not a 6 weeks ban like a lot of people are asking for. So I did think that he listen, he was a lot of the things you're saying, but in certain things, like on the gun part, you talked about Kristen, he kind of struck almost, I don't want to say conciliatory tone, but and Van, on Russia, I think that the point that he made was, I don't think he's saying I'm going to turn over Ukraine. I think it's much more of a, listen, I'm a military. I think what happened, the invasion needs to be stopped. It was unfettered aggression by Vladimir Putin. But at a certain point, we got to figure out like, what's the end game here for the world? How's it going to
believe he can do it in 24 hours?
Listen, I don't know if the president can do it in 24 hours, but I don't know how it is.
I think everybody knows the president can't.
It's important to note that when the invasion happened, his first reaction was to call it genius.
Well, yeah, you heard him now. He said Putin made the biggest mistake he made was invading Ukraine, right? I mean, so let's not.
Let's hear from Congressman. You're a supporter of the former president.
A couple of things. First of all, town halls are for the voters, not for the press, not for the person who's the moderator. Caitlin spent more time interjecting her own viewpoints or her own views on the situation.
Did I not say that?
Now, hold on. Are you guys not going to interject your views on me, or do I get a chance to say?
Oh, here we go. There we go.
Those were facts.
Stop
trying to suppress this black man's voice.
To speak to the voters of New Hampshire, not for this back and forth with media. That's number one. Hold on. That's number one. Number two, with respect to Ukraine, I totally disagree. He did not say he was just going to give over Ukraine the way you intimate, Van. He did not say that.
He didn't say he
what
would,
he said.
He did not say that he would.
What he said is that he would actually look for a solution to end it quickly. He put 24 hours on it, but let's be very clear. What Joe Biden has done has been a disaster, because initially with Ukraine, Joe Biden wanted to give Vladimir Zelensky a ride out of Dodge. He wanted to give him a plane ride. And it wasn't until people in Moscow, in Ukraine, here in the United States said this invasion is wrong that Joe Biden reversed course.
Do you want a victory in Ukraine? Do you want a victory in Ukraine?
I'm just trying to respond to everything that's been coming up on the table. Last thing, let me say this.
Uh-oh. What? No freaking way. No! No freaking way! CNN cut him off. They cut him off. No freaking way, y'all. For real. They cut the man, y'all, they cut him off. I'm just telling y'all what happened. That is crazy. They cut. How dare they silence a black man's voice? How dare they? Trump called a black police officer a thug. Trump is a racist. CNN just cut a black man's voice off from millions of people hearing him. Is that that is crazy? Hold on. I'm going back in here and try to check. Let me see something. That is crazy.
Or like a tease.
Let's see where this.
Hold on, let me see, y'all. What the actual heck?
Experience more with hard to get tables from Chase Sapphire Reserve.
Wow.
Chase, make more of what's yours.
Let me try to refresh it and see if we come across something.
I'm just trying to respond to everything that's been coming up on the table.
Here we go.
Last thing, let me say this.
No, it's getting cut. I'm telling y'all, it's it. It's a wrap. It's been cut. It's cut. I try to pull it back up again. It's cut. So no, it's a wrap, y'all. So, hey, look, I appreciate y'all all being in here. I know a lot of y'all had a lot of different opinions and everything y'all threw up here. Don't forget, if you've been in here and you have not subscribed to my channel, go over there, hit the subscribe button. Make sure that when you do hit the subscribe button, that you hit the bell notification. When you hit this bell notification, once you do subscribe, it's going to bring us some other options to tell you for all notifications, some notifications, or none. And that's how you would subscribe to my channel. For those of you that already sent something in through Cash App right here, I really do appreciate y'all doing that. Is it needed? No. Is it appreciated? Absolutely. I know some of y'all sent the $1. I do not care. Okay. For the ones that sent the Cash App, really appreciate you. God bless you. For the ones you don't have, but I'm just letting you know you don't have to send anything. I don't care if you don't, but God bless you. Anyhow, folks, that right there is what did it. I mean, I don't know why that particular guy got his stuff cut off, but hopefully, I don't know. I do not know. All I know is I cannot bring it back up. I know my wife told me it's still up there on TV, but they cut it off from here. So I don't know. Maybe I'll give it another try. Let me see if I can do something here. I'll give it another try to see if I can get it to pull back up. Let me get rid of it here. Let me see if I can pull it back up again. I'll try it. This is very interesting. Hit the like button, folks. Hit the thumbs up button. Get those likes up. Please, please, please get the likes up so the video can be circulated. I can hear it. Can you guys hear it? Nope. They keep shutting it off. They keep shutting it off, y'all. Yeah, it's a wrap. Yeah, it's a wrap. Nope, nope, nope. They shutting it off. When the conservative dudes started speaking, I mean, I'm just being real. Y'all can call it what you want to. You guys can see it all in real time. That is very, very interesting that old dude is getting cut off.
My siblings.
That really is interesting. They stopped the commercials and everything. Look, I'm just telling y'all. They stopped it. We can't even see it. Anyway, folks, no, it's not my internet because I can show you everything. Let me see. I'll tell you what, to show you that it's not my internet. I'll show you guys the entire screen while I'm doing this. Check this out. My internet, I got super speed internet. Here go Fox News right here. It's not my internet. I can go to all these different things right here. As you can see right here, video is playing. I can jump over to YouTube. Let me see something. Let me see something here. Black conservative, he might be covering this.
Why did they let all those people in?
So y'all
Why
can
did
see
cops
this,
just
right?
kind of open the doors, lift up the ropes? Have those cops been charged? What?
In the Republican Party,
And look
I will
at that.
also
Here's his
say
plan.
the ABC polling is pretty clear that Americans writ large want to support him over Joe Biden.
So polling has come up, so I now have to intervene.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh, yeah, we have a
that
professional.
poll was a little bit of an outlier, but it's not out of the realm of possibility that we will see other data like this because we know that voters do feel disappointed in Joe Biden. However, Donald Trump has been laying, in my view, a little bit low over the last couple of months. And it will be very interesting to see, do voters who may have forgotten what it felt like for Donald Trump to be in the spotlight, do they come away from this feeling excited and energized? Maybe some Republican base voters will, as we heard the folks in that room. But I suspect a lot of independents will not come away feeling energized. They will feel exhausted. I don't want this rerun, and
David,
that's
very
going to be a
quick.
problem.
So that's what I was
It's
just
not
going
about
to say.
what you want, bro.
Actually, you said if you left tonight, you'd say he did a great job, because he spoke
Didn't
to his
say
base.
he'd do a great
No,
job.
but
I
I'm saying he
said
spoke to his base.
He spoke to his base, yeah.
I think, we're in the middle of the field, right? We're in that 20-yard line. We're scrum, we're trying to get the votes. And I think the president, if he wants to win, right, he's going to need to speak to those suburban Pittsburgh voters, suburban.
See, but
Philly
I think
voters.
his
How do you get
calculation. I
those?
think his
This is my
calculation
mom.
is.
I
if
gave
I
her
get
the
the
story
nomination,
to learn what it was like
I
for
can
her to
beat
move
Biden
to
just as I
America.
think Biden's calculation is if I get the nomination, I can beat Trump. And
Yeah, but-
so I don't think he's worried about those people you're talking about right now.
But he needs to. And by the way, just real quickly, I want to echo what Van said. It's very tough to kind of keep the president on track. And I don't think Caitlin was trying to interrupt. I think she was trying to keep the train on the tracks and did a pretty good job.
Got to take a quick break. Coming up next, more fact checking. What some of what we heard tonight, including what Congressman Donald said about the response on January 6th, as our special CNN town hall coverage continues.
Yeah, so you guys are saying that. Look, here go. You guys can see this. I'm showing y'all. Let me see. You see this right here. They're hitting me with they're hitting me with an 11-minute long commercial. So yeah, now y'all got to understand something. My channel definitely gets flagged a lot by YouTube. So I don't know if y'all know this, but yeah, they're not trying to. Nope.
Diagnosed with HIV.
Look at that. Nah. Anyway, folks, I have no other way of being able to show that. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people got their own opinions and what they feel and what they think about all this. At the end of the day, we are going to see. This is going to be a very, very interesting next year and a half or 500 days, as they say. So, with that being said, appreciate you guys all being in here. Again, double check to make sure that you still are subscribed to the channel. Appreciate you guys hitting that like button in order for this video to get circulated. Appreciate y'all expressing y'all opinions. This is what this is all about. All of us in here have a right to vote for who we want to vote for. All of us have our opinions on what we think, how our morals and all this stuff line up based on your own personal beliefs, or maybe your religion, et cetera, et cetera. But one thing y'all do have to understand, at the end of the day, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, these electives that you have in there, the officials, the people that are into politics, these people are not going to be with you on your deathbed at the end of the day. They're not. They don't know who you are. They don't know what you like to eat. They don't know any of those things about you. The reason why I'm saying this is because I'm fairly new to politics. I'm about a good 2.5 years in. And I'm telling you right now, it is amazing to me that I have not been into politics as a grown up until I got almost in my 40s. And for me to find out that y'all would disown some of your own family members because they vote a particular way. That is the most crazy, to me, my opinion, immature thing in the world. You will disown your own family members because they don't vote and think and see things the way that you do. When these are going to be the people who's supposed to be there for you and going to be there with you throughout your life, but you would disown your own blood over some candidates that don't even know who you are, don't know what your birthday is, don't know what your food is, don't come to none of your family reunions. Y'all would disown your own family members over some presidential candidates. Y'all would disown your family members over some people in Congress. Y'all would disown some family members over who they voted for to be your mayor. That is the craziest thing in the world to me. You know how to make this easy? Whenever y'all come together, y'all just don't talk about it. It's easy. It's very easy. But some of y'all as adults, is really fascinating that you don't have the mental capacity to be able to do that. It's amazing. I am very rare in my family, but I had a lot of family members turn over a new leaf to see things in a different light. My other family members, guess what? When we come together, we still loving, we still hugging, the whole nine. We just don't talk about when it comes to politics with each other. But some of y'all have disowned your family members. That right there is some ridiculousness as a human being. That is crazy. Because again, at the end of the day, your politicians don't give a good goddamn don't care about your personal life and what you do in your daily life. They don't care. But guess who do care? Your brother, your sister, your mom, your dad, your uncle, your cousins, your nieces, your nephews. That's family. That's blood. And you disown them over somebody that don't even know who you are. That's crazy to me. With that being said, folks, do me a favor. Double check to make sure that you still are subscribed to the channel. Hit that like button for me before we get out of here. And just like I do, and I do this every single time, and I really mean it, even if you're on the opposite side of how I think, I always say this. I am Ty Smith, modern Renaissance man, hoping and praying that every last one of you guys that's in this stream right now, I hope and pray that every last one of you guys are in great health. I pray that you guys all have food, shelter, and clothing, and most of all, that's right, I pray that you guys are all in great health, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And God bless you all through Jesus.